Xbox Game Pass is a thorough success. Ever since Microsoft launched Game Pass on June 1st, 2017, it has been the definitive Netflix for game subscription service, boasting a wide variety of titles that subscribers can download at their leisure at the current rate of $15 a month, which comes bundled with Xbox Live. The subscription service includes old games, new titles, indies, AAA blockbusters, and even features newly released Xbox exclusives the day they come out, despite how many of these titles retail for $70. And with all those games and how Microsoft has begun to buy out more and more developers, which in turn nets it more high-profile exclusives, see Bethesda, Game Pass's lineup and value has only grown over the years. It is truly an appetizing investment, and one that has netted over 18 million subscribers in total currently. However, Game Pass as a business model is often befuddling to the general public. After all, success metrics in the game industry were once based off sales alone, as seen with basically every boring public corporate quarterly review prior to the mid-2010s, which were always absolute torture to read and aren't something that anyone should be subjected to, because reading them is the damn worst, and they read as a business-wide circle jerk over a company's sales numbers. But with that being said, what happens now when a company like Microsoft uses a different way to measure success that goes beyond a game's sales? Because let's be honest, when they released their AAA games like Halo Infinite day and date on Xbox Game Pass, people playing these games through Microsoft's subscription service inherently dig into the game's overall sales. And while sure Microsoft will make a lot of money off of billing the monthly recurrent subscriptions of its customers, they still are technically losing overall sales on their exclusive games. So with that, it's worth asking, how is Microsoft making money off of Xbox Game Pass? What does the metrics of success look like to Microsoft? Is it money? Is it bagels? Is it the right to horribly name the next Xbox console? 'Tis a conundrum. Joking aside though, there are two answers here. Firstly, Game Pass still makes a profit for Microsoft even when factoring in lost sales. It still nets the company a positive amount of money overall. But the second and more important reason behind Game Pass's business success is through engagement. And no, not the fun, optimal type of engagement where two sapphic women profess their undying love for each other amid smooches and bedside table pizza. I mean the more boring, computerized, and electronic version of engagement that gives corporate social media accounts a Sears Tower-sized stiffy. You know, that type of engagement. Head of the Xbox brand, Phil Spencer, admitted as much as well. No, not the skyscraper boner, but the two ways that Game Pass makes business sense. Per a podcast interview thingy with IGN in June 2021, it's pretty straightforward. We invest in our first-party games. We invest in specific third-party deals to bring games into Game Pass. Game Pass is obviously a revenue stream. We have subscribers, and those subscribers are paying money every month, and that creates a revenue pool for us in Game Pass, and that's a fairly large number at this point. In addition, those games sell on our platform. They are in our stores, whether it's on Windows or on console or now with cloud out there as well. So when we look at the economics of Game Pass, it's not just how many games is the subscriber playing in this subscription, and if they would have purchased those games or some number of those games, we don't look at what is the trade-off on purchased games for subscriber revenue. We never look at it that way. What we do is say, are we growing the number of players on our platform, and are they playing more often? And from that activity, we see the business grows. The number one metric we can look at to see if our business is actually growing is, are people playing more on the platform? There's nothing about review scores, retail sales of console, or retail sales of games. The number one sign that our platform is healthy and growing is actually engagement on the platform from players, and that is what Game Pass is growing. End quote. Before we continue further, let's discuss the nature of engagement. In the world of social media, electronics, and subscription services, engagement is an important metric, and one that a lot of modern businesses value. The most obvious examples of this are social media sites like YouTube and Twitter, which reward videos and posts that people interact with by further promoting that content to more people, even if they don't follow or subscribe to the person or channel that originally posted the content. Social media sites just notice what content has people engaging with their platform, and they want to capitalize on that by increasing the engagement of that aforementioned content as much as possible. It doesn't matter if the post or video was good or bad. It just matters if people commented, liked it, shared, or engaged with it in any way. That's it. But the importance of engagement spans beyond the companies just running social media sites. If anything, many third-party businesses use social media platforms for brand engagement as well. In fact, it's fairly easy to find brand Twitter accounts post some humorous tweets that gain viral attention that boost people's awareness of a brand. See the brand accounts for Wendy's and Moon Pies. But where many companies have truly converted online engagement into dollar bills are when those said companies give the appearance of taking a moral stance on social and political issues. For example, when Black Lives Matter activist and former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick was in a Nike advertisement a couple years ago, many people flocked to social media to either offer their support to Nike, which is a company that only cares about making money, or criticize Nike, which is a company that only cares about making money. And regardless of supporters or detractors, Nike found that the engagement itself, whether positive or negative, boosted the brand and made Nike's hashtag go viral, which allowed more people to interact with Nike as a product, and that brand interaction and awareness in turn led to more sales, because that is the ultimate power of online engagement. Furthermore, subscription services value engagement as well. When watching movies and shows on subscription services like Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, and etc., the companies running these streaming services want you to keep watching shows on their platforms, i.e. engaging with them. After all, these services always recommend new movies and TV shows whenever you've just finished watching a movie or a show in order for you to stay on their platform and keep engaging with it, to keep interacting with their product. Microsoft's attitude towards Xbox Game Pass is very similar. By viewing engagement as its primary success metric, Microsoft is very much like those other subscription services and companies that see an overlap between engagement and monetary gains. And this only makes sense. Firstly, because Xbox's strength has generally always been its services, and secondly, the more time you do spend playing games on Xbox means the more likely you will keep playing on Xbox in the future. And it is a successful strategy, because speaking for myself as a Game Pass subscriber, it gives me a reason to play games on my Xbox One, even though its competitor in the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 have been my primary consoles since 2013. But despite how the PlayStation brand has been my main console of choice for nearly a decade, Game Pass gives me a reason to boot up my Xbox, and in that sense, the engagement is clearly a good metric because I wouldn't play my Xbox as much otherwise without Game Pass. It is just a logical business model. Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass business strategy mirrors the video game industry's overall pivot towards engagement as well. In recent years, video game companies have prioritized engagement as more and more games fall under the Games as a Service moniker, also known as live services, which is something that I admittedly overall genuinely dislike because most live service titles lack meaningful content and feel like scams that make the player pay money for items that should already be in the end product or feature in-game gambling mechanics. But regardless of whether or not you like or dislike these live services, it is undeniable that their brand of engagement is pervasive in the modern game industry. After all, these games have their own in-game economies and in-app purchases where players fork over real-world money. And when it comes to these games as a service, video game developers and publishers value engagement, mostly because the more time players spend engaging with a game means the more likely they are to spend money in that said game. See Destiny, Anthem, Apex Legends, Marvel's Avengers, or Fortnite, which are live services that value engagement over sales, and proves that the video game industry values the amount of time customers spend playing their software, possibly more than just the money, if any, the customers spend at the point of sale. And in that sense, Microsoft is in line with the rest of the video game industry when it comes to Game Pass. It very much fits in with the video game industries and the overall business reality that prizes brand engagement. It makes sense. Of course, Xbox Game Pass is a great deal for the customer. While many engagement-focused services in the game industry are manipulative and benefits the company over the customer, Xbox Game Pass actually has a wealth of quality and interesting content. Unlike most services, Xbox Game Pass actually does offer a valuable service to the customer, a service that ultimately allows gamers to try and experiment with titles that they otherwise wouldn't have tried, and they may even save money as a result, which is a true win for both the customer and Microsoft, seeing as Xbox Game Pass gives a reason for customers to keep playing games on Xbox for many years down the line. It gives us a reason to keep engaging with it. And with that, that was the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like rating, subscribe, ring the bell, share, and leave a comment telling me what you think about Xbox Game Pass. Also, please consider checking out my Patreon page. The link is in the description. And speaking of Patreon, I just want to thank my patrons, especially my high tier ones, and David, Samantha, Devlin, Mom, and Morgan. Thank you so much for supporting what I do. Love y'all.